And I remembered that gathering. I think actually we had a few people knitting, and the threads were going across the room in various ways. And the threads were coming from the pre-made sweater, but I think also from the other knitters as well. We even actually did a version of it at a festival called Greenbelt, which was a large festival, and this was a large venue, and once a year we would do a large icon. This was to a few thousand people, and I remember that we got this woman, Jane, and who was very seminal in making this dress. We went to second-hand stores and we got about 50 old sweaters, and we knitted them together and created this dress that was about 15 feet high, this dress, right? And then Jane stood on a stepladder, and we put the dress on her, so it looked like she was, 18 feet tall or whatever, 20 feet tall. So when you went into this room, she was right in the center where everyone was seated on the ground. She was there with this massive dress right down. And then we had knitters all dotted around the room, and we had threads going from this massive dress to these people who were knitting new garments from the unraveling of this old garment. And I remember there was a certain point in that gathering where people were invited to go up to that dress and cut thread and make a bracelet from the thread. And all I remember about this, and what my friend said, she said, because this was an artistic expression. It was very key. We didn't come in with a very clear idea of what that meant. And I said that to her. I said, like, the way you interpreted that was beautiful. And I think that was partly what we were trying to convey. But we didn't start with, oh, this is what we want to convey, and then, backward engineer something. Somebody just came up with the idea of this image. And that's how often we did icons. We would start with an image, and then we would build around that image. And this image was of an unraveling garment that was then being repurposed into new garments. And I think it was inspired by, I don't know how I found this out, but I had discovered that week, or a couple of weeks before that gathering, that the word raveling means exactly the same as the word unraveling, right? There's a name for this, is antonym. I think antonym's not quite the word. Antonym is a word that means both what it means and its opposite. It means two things that are completely opposite at the same time. This is, I think, called an auto-antonym or something, but it's a word where unraveling, which means pulling apart. When you take the away, you would think that it would mean the opposite. But you take the away, and raveling also means to pull apart. And I really like this because it captured something very central about the work that I was trying to do back then in my 20s. That I wasn't trying to unravel my faith or anybody else's so that it could be put back together again, right? Rather, I saw the unraveling as something profoundly powerful in and of itself. So the movement was kind of, if you think of unraveling as something negative, right? You're unraveling, I'm unraveling, and people would say that. That's a metaphor. That's how my friend felt. She felt that she was unraveling. And when she went to that gathering, what happened was not that she was able to put something completely back together again, but the unraveling became something positive. It became raveling. She was able to revel in this raveling.